Okay, hey guys, I know there's been some confusion. Welcome to our pop culture class. We're using, everyone across campus is using this new Canvas system and it's causing a great deal of confusion for people. But I thought that I would go through the syllabus with you orally so you can see kind of what the expectations are for the rest of the 4 weeks remaining. It goes by really quickly. And so I'm hoping that you read the syllabus, but if you didn't read it, I'm just going to highlight some things. I am not on campus during second session, but if you need to reach me, I made the mistake of putting my cell phone down here. I didn't mean to do that, but in a way, I'm kind of glad I did. The only thing I'm asking that you do is that you text me. I'm at home with 3 kids over the summer, and I may not be able to just jump to the phone very quickly, but I will get back with you if you'll text me at the 336-471-5663 number. So this semester, what we're focusing on is the American South and popular culture. And what students will do is we're looking at fiction books as it relates to other forms of media like film and television. And we're seeing if these fiction books are aligning with depictions of African Americans on television and film. Pretty much is what we're doing. What's interesting about books, particularly when we're looking at Amazon, is that a lot of these books are authored by African Americans. This wasn't necessarily the case before the Kindle, because you know that there were gatekeepers, and there are really 5 big publishing companies. And these 5 big publishing companies were being able to decide who would get to get what out there, what was worthy of being published and what wasn't. So a lot of people were marginalized and kept to the side and not able to participate. Now with the onset of Kindle, anybody can publish a book. And so now what we're doing is we're looking at some of these books written by African Americans, and we're wondering, hey, is what African Americans, what they're writing about themselves, is it lining up with what we're necessarily seeing on television? There is a note: just because the book is in the African American section and just because it says it's African American does not necessarily mean that it was written or published by an African American. So that's the thing about technology. You can be who you want to be. And so I am aware that there's some abuse. There's some big publishers, independent publishers, that are putting out books that make money, and they're not necessarily part of the group. They're using pen names in order to pretend that they're part of the group, but they're really not. So we do have to keep that in mind. And maybe when we read some of these, we may be able to detect when we read things that seem like they're outside of the culture, and it may let African Americans know, this book, though it says it's written by an African American, may not necessarily be written by an African American. Okay, so by the end of this course, you should be able to identify the plot structure of a work of fiction, which includes the exposition, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution. We're going to get to that in week 2. Week 1, I just want you to kind of introduce yourselves to the group and read some articles so we get a foundation and definitions in terms of what we mean by culture, and so things to look at about what's happening in the culture. You should be able to compare modern day depictions of African Americans to past representations. One thing with the Big Bogle book about pop culture that you're reading about, Mammies, Coons, that textbook, that Bogle textbook, is it will go all the way back to the very beginning of film, and you'll get to kind of trace these images from starting with Birth of a Nation, one of the first films, all the way up to the new millennia, but not really anything past 2012, but up to about 2012. You should be able to produce a book report analyzing the structure of a popular book, and you should also be able to write a book review. And you should be able to connect that popular culture theory that you would have read about the first 4 weeks to your popular work of fiction that you were assigned. Okay, so again, there are several things going on in the class. One is this textbook, this main text that you'll need by Bogle, called Toms, Coons, Mulattoes, Mammies, and Bucks. You should be able to get that from the bookstore. You definitely should be able to get it online. If you're wanting to save some money, if you already have a Kindle Unlimited plan, great, perfect. You won't have to pay anything additional for um, the text, the assigned book that you'll get from your group, from the assigned genre. You can just use your Kindle Unlimited. If you don't have a Kindle Unlimited plan, I'd recommend it. Instead of familiarizing yourself with 5 different books and paying for each one of those 5, most of these books are free if you have a Kindle Unlimited plan. So there is a place for you on the syllabus for you to go and get your free membership plan so that you don't have to pay so much for each one of these books. All right, so right now we are in week 1. We're on Thursday. And I'll show you another part of the course. The expectation here is that on Monday you would have introduced yourselves to the class. You would have read the syllabus through and through. You would have understood what assignments were required of you. And also each day it was a required reading. And you can get that reading from the website. And we'll visit it on another site in just a second so I can show you where it is. Week 2. We're focusing on the different kinds of female images there are out there about African American women. On Monday, we're looking at Mammy. On Tuesday, we're looking at Sapphire. Wednesday is Happy 4th of July. Eat, enjoy yourself, see the fireworks. Come back on Thursday ready to work. We'll talk about Jezebel. And then on Friday, there'll be a group discussion about those readings. So each week, when you have a group discussion, it is the discussion that takes place within your team in which you're discussing the reading for that week. It is not an exam. You don't have to stress out about it. It's something that anybody who's read anything about what we were supposed to read about that week should be able to talk about. So you don't stress. It's one question. You write a response to that one question. Further down the syllabus, I'll outline what makes a good discussion and how that's defined. And you should reply to at least one other teammate. So that is happening so that your course, there are over 37, 38 people in the class. That's a huge class. And so I have broken the class into little modules so that you're working with a more intimate group instead of with 38 people. Okay, so for week 2, your group discussion will be about one of the female images, either and, Mammy, Sapphire, Jezebel. When we go into week 3, you have an assignment due week 3. That should be that group PowerPoint. Okay, the group PowerPoint, your team has been assigned pages to read out of that Bogle book, and your group is supposed to submit one PowerPoint for your entire team talking about that reading. And when we go further into the syllabus, I'll show you what that is and what that means. Okay, so that's due July the 8th. Then that week on Monday, as we look at the African American male figures in the media, we'll look at the Tom, the Brute, looks like I've got some overlap, Nat, those 3. And on Friday, we'll talk about the Coon, as part of not only our group discussion, but as part of our reading too. And since I see that I should have put it on Wednesday, I'll move that up so that could be part of a Thursday or Friday reading. On the 4th week, or nearing the end of the class, you have your individual book report due. I'll be talking to you about that a little bit later. That's due July 15th. Anytime we have a due date, you have until 11:59 that evening to submit it. Okay, at this point, Monday through Friday that week, except for Friday, we will have group presentations. In other words, I will put a location in the course for group 1 or team 1 to upload their PowerPoint and create a kind of discussion that I'm doing here with you with video, where you talk us through your presentation. Okay. And then everyone's expected to watch and read those. Why? Because on Friday, within your group, there'll be another discussion about how we had class that week. And our class that week are the different presentations. Monday is group 1, Tuesday is group 2, Wednesday is group 3, Thursday is group 4, and group 5. Your smaller groups are going to discuss all the presentations with one question, which you'll have to respond to that one question and then reply to another student. Okay. Week 4 is our final week. You know, it went by very quickly, right? At this point, you should submit your group summaries. Now, unlike in week 4, which is your individual book report, your individual book report is about the book that your group assigned you out of the genre that you were given. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. You have an individual book report. The syllabus outlines what I'm expecting from that individual group project. That should be done on the 15th. On week 4, your group book reports, your group summaries and presentations are due, okay? Your group summaries and presentation comes from your group getting together that week of the presentations, discussing each one of your books that you all had within that group, and looking for similarities, commonalities between characterization, plot structure, and all of those kinds of things within that genre that your team was assigned, whether that be women's fiction, Christian literature, urban literature, mystery, thriller, or whatever. We're looking to see commonalities, and your group is going to take those commonalities, compare it to what's happening out there, talk about what it means in terms of that reading that took place during group 4, looking at it, connecting it to the Bogle book and those images that we've seen from Birth of a Nation to about 2012. So it's kind of coming all together. That's due that first day of the week. And again, on Monday, we have those group presentations again. You're uploading your writing document or your visual document, or you're just submitting some kind of video in which your group is discussing your project. And I'll have a place for you to upload that. So your evaluation takes place from your group PowerPoint, which is due on, I want to say, the 8th. Your individual book report, which is due on the 15th, okay? Your group summary presentation that's due on the 23rd. And each one of those little discussions that took place within your groups, each one of those discussions will end up counting as 25%. So it's evenly divided. And then you can see here the final grades, A, B, C, D, F, and what comprises an A and so forth, okay? So let's look at this group PowerPoint, will we? Okay, so this PowerPoint, each group has a set of assigned pages to read. Team 1, you have pages 2 through 104. Team 2, you have pages 105 to 201. Team 3, 202 to 292, and so forth. You're to put together an 18 to 20 slide PowerPoint discussing, just providing a summary of those chapters. Okay, I don't need any kind of analysis there. I don't need any kind of connection there. I just need to know that your group was able to read that PowerPoint, understand what the key points of that PowerPoint were, to come up with some bullet pointed slides. Don't give me a slide with all this cut and paste text. Bullet points of the highlight, and then some pictures that go with each one of those slides. So the point of this is to provide someone with a very quick overview of what that whole 472-page book is about in a very quick and concise manner. Someone should be able to use your PowerPoint based on that section and prepare for a test using it, okay? So I'm looking at your content. Each column represents the A is this far right column, the B, the C and D and below and so forth. So I won't go through here and read each thing about what I'm expecting, but you can look here and see, you know, how you score points and how they're scored and what you need to do, and if your group is trying to get the A, what that A means, okay? The next thing we need to talk about is that individual book report that's due. That individual book report will be based off of one of the books that were assigned to you or your team members from the particular genre that I selected for your team, okay? You will each write on one book. This is not a group effort. This is your own individual effort. You're supposed to read that book, and here are the things I want you to tell me about that book. In your introduction, I want you to tell me what the author information is. I want you to tell me what genre is this. Is this women fiction, mystery, urban fiction? Is this Christian, African American Christian fiction? I want you to look at your cover. What is on the cover of that book? Okay? What kind of images are used? What kind of titles are used? How does this particular book rank in the Amazon rankings? And as we get closer to that, I'll show you how to look for Amazon rankings. And then I need a 3-sentence synopsis. A synopsis, just what this whole book is about. Don't give me 2 or 3 pages summarizing the book and turn in this book report. You're going to be disappointed. So just 3 sentences about what the total book is about, and that's it. When you move into the body, I am only interested in your analysis of the book. I no longer need summary at all. What kind of characters were used? We'll talk about flat and round characters when we get into the course next week. What was the rising action used? What's the climax of the books? What's the following action? That's just very informational, okay? What 10 things that I need you to go and look at the reviews? What 10 things that people like about this book? What were 10 things they didn't like about it? Look at all the star reviews, not just the 5-star, but the 3-star. The next thing I need you to do is the analysis portion is to connect this book to all of the scholarly articles that we read. Does this book remind you of one of the characters from the Bogle book? Is something happening in this book that is appropriating or some other term that you learned about in the week 1 reading as it applies to culture? Okay, those are making those connections. All right, so that is what the individual book report is. And so you're looking at probably around 3 to 5 pages. All right. Now, the following week, you've got your book reports, your individual book reports written. Now I want you to get together as a group and start comparing information. Are we starting to see the same kind of characters over and over again? Is this the same kind of storyline? Are these the same kind of male figures? Are these figures different or the same as the stereotypes that we'll learn from the reading and from the Ferris Museum? Okay. And so a lot of the same information that you talked about in your individual book report will be talked about in the group summary. However, the group summary only need 1 summary from each group, okay, with this information. So that means you're going to have to collaborate. You're going to have to talk. You're going to have to text each other. You're going to have to maybe get on Google Hangouts. You may have to do some kind of Google share of documents, something like that. You're going to have to work together that week. So you might want to go ahead and start thinking about getting people's information and scheduling some time. It doesn't have to be face-to-face. It could be online, just like I'm doing right here, to talk to your group about when you're going to get together to do this summary. Okay. So you have a week. You just have a week to prepare that. Okay. So it's the same kind of information. It's just a synopsis, a merging of that information. Now, this information right here is about your group summary discussion, those little mini discussions that you have every Friday about the reading, okay? This lays out what the expectations are and when things are due. We want your first response to the question on a Friday. They won't be posted till Friday because I want everybody to work together and be on the same page. And by the following Tuesday, you should have responded. You have from Friday until Tuesday to reply to another classmate. This gives everybody a chance to post, and it also gives people a chance to post, read, and then respond. So you want to make sure that these are substantive posts that you're making. It should go beyond, I agree, yeah, that's a good idea, and moving on. You're going to be really disappointed in your grade. I have here a rubric for how I grade, and I want you to look through that and know that I'm looking at grammar, and I'm also looking at the length of content and how much content you have. If you have technical issues, I'm not the one to call. If something happens with Blackboard. Now, content issues, yes, I am. But if you have problems with Canvas, you need to call the help desk at school, and that's 336-750-3431. And then I have a section about educational netiquette, how you talk and treat each other online, and that's important. So you want to be courteous. You want to talk and treat those the same way you want to be treated. I do not take late assignments. So you want to make sure you have all the dates laid out now. You have all the expectations laid out now. The only thing that you don't have now are the portals to submit that information. And that will come available as we go through the course, where you're just simply submitting. Technically, you could work on all of this stuff now. But if I were you, I would work from week to week, working from Monday to Friday to see what's done with your group, and leave it at say that it's not so overwhelming. If you happen to have a disability, this is a statement about how you go in and file that disability so that you are given, if you need it, extended time on assignments and different accommodations. Okay? All right, I'm going to try to go to another part of the class. Pages. What happened to my video? Last second, I hope I didn't lose it. Here I am. All right, pages. Okay, so when you click on pages and you see this page right here, you see these are all hyperlinks. If you click on these, it will take you to the area of the course that you need to go to post, okay? So I'm going to go back to pages again. And even down to the reading assignments. The reading assignments are on my webpage. So if you scroll down, you will see where these reading assignments are. Okay? Okay, the other thing that you want to do is, for the individual book report assignment, if you want more information on that and what the class is asked to do, or what your team is doing, you just click on that individual information book report due July 16th, and it tells you what each team is assigned, and it also gives you a list of books. Okay, and I'm not going to go through the list of books. The other thing that you want to look for, so every week, so after week 1, this area you no longer need to be concerned about, even if you need to go to your group summary. Once I submit what the question is for that, that will be put up here, so that you have from Friday until Tuesday to respond. When we come up to week 2, on Monday when you come up to week 2, these links will be blue. In other words, when you click on them, they will take you where you need to go in the course to access that information. Okay? So you'll have discussion about these particular readings that will happen once on Friday, and then the whole reading list with the different Mammy, Jezebel in particular for week 2 for that section. Okay? And it pretty much will work the same way as we progress throughout the course. Okay? What else did I need to tell you? Okay, so that is, I think that's all that I need to tell you right now. That's all the information I have. I hope you enjoy the course. I hope you enjoy the reading. I'm going to come in posting some more videos as we go through and kind of discussing the reading and giving your groups and the class something to think about. Well, all right. Well, have a great summer. And again, text me if you have questions. All right. Thank you.